Hey everybody, happy Friday. In this video, we're going to talk about Cipher and some recent news there. We're going to talk about the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Have we been seeing inflows lately? We're also going to talk about PCE, and the market so far seems to be reacting okay to it. Now, when you ignore the Magnificent Seven, we've definitely got a little red going on. Maybe the market's just reacting to Tesla's earnings results, and the broader market is reacting to PCE today. And speaking of PCE, we'll jump into that real quick before we get into Cipher and Bitcoin ETFs. PCE did pretty much go in line with expectations, a 2.8% on core, and a 2.6 year over year. We did have some words from the Chicago Fed president, Austin Goolsbee, saying that PCE data was even a little better than expected. I don't make too much of any one month, but I've been saying that I felt like we're on a path to 2%. I don't know how he came to that conclusion, but okay. I have comfort. I won't say overconfidence, but I have comfort that we're on that path. I think this comment here is a little more realistic. Clark Bellin, the chief investment officer of Bellwether Health, says inflation is still firmly above the Fed's target of 2%. While Friday's PCE print was in line with expectations, the data shows inflation remained elevated in December to end 2024, making it a bit ironic that the Fed cut interest rates during that same month. Now, as many of you know, in our last Fed meeting, we did get a pause. That was pretty much completely expected, and the market is hoping for 2 cuts. Now, when you look at PCE like this, it shows a much more clear story. It shows that PCE inflation has been going up from 2.1% in September of 2024, which is starting to get very, very good looking. Optimism flowing through. And then bam, October 2.3, November 2.4, December 2.6. Inflation is going away from the Fed's 2% target, at least in terms of PCE. But perhaps because it came in line with estimates, the market isn't reacting too horribly to it. But the reality is, we are seeing PCE continue to tick up. If the Fed's going to do more cuts, we need to see these numbers come down, not up. Things are starting to go in the wrong direction again. And maybe the Fed's 2% target is unrealistic, and the mid-2s is the new 2s moving forwards, or one day. And I think this is a perfect segue to Bitcoin. Inflation proof. It is set in supply, and we have been seeing some inflows there lately. Bitcoin ETFs rake in $588 million as institutional demand soars. BlackRock led the pack with $321.5 million of inflows on that date, January 30, followed by FBTC with $209 million. We are slowly but surely reaching a supply shock. And I'm curious if we hit that point where the supply is completely dried up from exchanges, where suddenly we get into a bidding war before the cycle comes to an end. Does this just push things on along and we get this massive supply shock? Well, if you're following the cycle, things should top out before 2025 ends. And if you're following the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges, they're getting down almost under 2 million Bitcoin on exchanges. You can see on CoinGlass that, the supply is just continuing to drop off a cliff. About 2.17 million left on exchanges. And while Bitcoin miners are adding 450 Bitcoin per day to the network, the ETFs just in this day collected 5,400 Bitcoin. If we keep seeing this, I do think we are going to reach a point of supply shock. I don't know if it's going to be in this cycle. I don't know if it's going to be in the next cycle. I do think that future crypto winters will be a lot more tame. The bear markets of 70+% drops are gone, in my opinion. Can we still expect like a 40-50% drop? I think so. There will be downtrends. There will be uptrends. Bitcoin isn't just going to go straight up forever. But 2025 should be a positive year. We should see Bitcoin continue to hit new all-time highs after new all-time highs. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think the 4-year cycle is broken? Do you think there won't be crypto winters anymore? And do you think we're going to hit that Bitcoin supply shock where the Bitcoin that's on exchanges is depleting and they say, sorry, there's no Bitcoin for sale? We do have some interesting news from Cipher. Softbank injects $50 million into Cipher, which is about 10.4 million shares, somewhere around like 5% of their overall total shares, something like that. And Cipher CEO Tyler Page was very enthusiastic about Softbank's investment, of course, seeing it as a crucial moment for Cipher's growth. And analysts at JP Morgan say that this Softbank investment is a potential indicator of future trends. More companies wanting to get in, more companies getting to this AI hype. And while 50 million may not significantly impact the development of Cipher's computing data center, this could bring more money into the space. Monkey see, monkey do. SoftBank Group is no small company. Their portfolio value for one is $21 billion, and their cash is not disclosed. They apparently have a large, massive amount of T-Mobile for whatever reason. And Cipher popped on this news. It was up massively pre-market. It's up like 25% in the open market. And we did get a massive gap up. Broke right through the 200 MA. It's trying to hold the 50 MA. This may turn out to be a resistance, kind of like it was here, where you just end up with a wick and the body is stuck under it. We'll see where this candle closes. There will be probably some profit taking at the end of the day. So Cipher's next goal is going to be maintaining the 50 MA. It did get its golden cross back in November, which it has been riding, although it has been in a downtrend, and as of recently, most of December under the 50 MA. Once it gets over the 50 MA, it can maintain that golden cross. If things continue dropping, it might get a death cross, but I find that very unlikely where we are here in the cycle, where we are based on where earnings is coming. And Cipher saw some massive volume, the likes that it hasn't seen even in December of 2023. And Cipher has an important point to break out. For one, I'd like to see it hold over $6, close above $6. And two, if we can get to $8, this previous 52-week high, once we break that, I think Cipher, for one, is going crazy. Cipher is expecting pretty big growth in revenue quarter over quarter. However, year over year, they're actually expecting a decline, possibly. It is estimated that they would see 50 million in the quarter ending in March 2024. They got 48 million. It's expected to be 40 million. We'll see what happens. Maybe we see a beat and they actually do surpass and they get year over year and quarter over quarter. But that's kind of surprising to me, honestly. Is it too late to buy Cipher? I think if you're following the cycle, it's still a good time to buy the Bitcoin miners. Do you want to buy on a 25% day? Not necessarily, but that's up to you. Ever since Cipher broke its uptrend here, it has been in mostly a downtrend. I think once Cipher can reclaim that 50 MA, things will look more optimistic. If you want to be patient for it, you could wait for a fill of the gap. Typically, a chart setup like this on the Heikin-Ashis can bring an uptrend. When you have a candle with the wick on both sides and then a flat bottom candle, bam. You've seen this in other instances here like this. Flat candle, keeps going. Candle with wick on both sides, flat candle, starts an uptrend. And the same with the downside. Usually you get a candle with a wick on both sides and then a flat top candle and they start pulling back. So this could be the beginning of a nice uptrend. You could consider setting a stop at like 550 if it does want to go fill that gap and possibly get in on a better price. Or you could just simply DCA. I do think the Bitcoin miners are still a great time to add. But what do you guys think about Cipher stock? I know I don't cover it that often. How are you guys feeling about the spot Bitcoin ETFs? I do think we're going to continue to see MicroStrategy acquiring more and more Bitcoin, taking more and more of the supply away. They're not going to give any of it back. Same with these spot Bitcoin ETFs. While there might be some days of outflows, overall we will see inflows month over month. And we have all kinds of news about states getting into Bitcoin, starting these strategic reserves. It went from like 11 states to now 15 or 16 states. Soon we will see half of the states recommending getting into Bitcoin, applying for Bitcoin reserves. And now with this revoke of SAB 121, the banks basically have free reign to get into crypto now. But how are you guys feeling about Bitcoin today? How are you feeling about the market in general? What do you think of PCE? Are we starting an uptrend on inflation again? That has been the direction over the last few months. But thanks as always for watching, guys. Hopefully you have a good weekend and I'll see you on Monday.